Hello and welcome to Patrick's Models and Transport. This is the Lima engine shed. I've had this engine shed since I think 1986. It was a birthday present. And the thing is, I've never used it. It came as a set, engine shed and signal box. You've seen the signal box in use on the Brunel layout. And that's the signal box I'm going to also improve. Now it's practically stock, but I'm going to improve that. I never used the engine shed. Why? I didn't have a layout. And even nowadays with the layouts that I have, this type of engine shed is not very practical. And now we'll have a look and I'll explain you why. So first of all, an engine shed should have an engine inside it, and it does. It's a Lima engine shed. Of course, it has a Lima engine, which shot out at maximum speed because it's got a cold motor. Right, there we go. The SNCF BB 67000 came out, and of course disconnected the crocodile clips. Maybe we should have that. Yeah, it's already behaving itself a bit better. Okay, anyway, this is our engine shed, and I'll explain why it's not very practical for the kind of layout that I operate, because I've considered fitting. So on the Brunel layout, there's a point where I've installed the base for the container handling crane, which was part of the very first accessory I got, together with the famous Lima station, the Lerino station with a bell, which I'll keep, because that's really something from my childhood. I'll keep that. But then and of course the container handling thing was one of the first things, and it's set up to be able to operate that. But I was also thinking maybe as an alternative I could sometimes install an engine shed just to change the setting a bit on the Brunel layout. But I would need an engine shed which is not made like the Lima engine shed. Arcadia Model Junction, he's got one and he weathered it very, very nicely. It was really good. So this is ideal, in my opinion, on a permanent layout. So let's just disconnect this length of rail here, and we'll have a look at the engine shed. You can see that I'm just going to hold it in between my knees so that we're going to pardon the knees, but that's this is what we have. So you can see that the rails are inside. They're actually, it's a bit dusty in here. The rails are nickel silver, so they don't oxidize. They don't need to be cleaned thoroughly all the time. They're not steel track, so they're quality. This could be improved with, you can see that the roof is clipped in. These window frames clip into the arches. You can probably even dismantle it if you want. I remember that when I got this, the central roof section, the roof ventilation, this is a ventilation for the smoke, for the fumes. This came as a separate part, and I fitted it using Yoo-hoo glue, which is something that you should not use for plastic kits, but that's what I had at the time. Not long afterwards, I would have started using, when I started building model kits, when I was about, must have been the following year, 1987, and got my very first bottle of an Italian, I think it was Esci, or an Italian equivalent of Tamiya cement. But before that, it was the dreadful Yoo-hoo glue, the stuff that makes big long strands of glue. Anyway, so this is, in fact, even a single box is held together with Yoo-hoo glue, and I would like to open it up and improve it and do things to it. And I'll probably have to go in the fridge and get opened after being in the freezer, but we'll see about that. The brickwork is very good. definitely with a matte, with some matte paint or a matte wash, this would improve no end. The side doors could be picked out, but the whole point is that this is not very practical, because to fit it to my layout I would have to physically connect it, slide it in each time. And what I would like to do on the Brunel layout, on the bigger one, is get another type of engine shed, the kind of engine shed that you just sit on top. Just sit it on top of the rails, and could be, and I would like to have there are two rails there in the when I have the container handling depot, where one, if I don't remember badly, is connected to the main line, the other one is connected to the sidings, and that would be absolutely ideal, because I could choose whether to use the container handling. I could even use the same concrete platform and just install the thing on top to simplify my life. But this here is not very practical, so I've decided that I'm going to sell this, because there's no point in me keeping something in a box, maybe take it out, play with it on the table like this, when somebody could maybe buy it and weather it, install it on their layout, and really put it to good use, because there's no point in hoarding things. This is what I think. So that's what's going to happen with this. I'm going to put this on my Vinted, in my Vinted shop, and sell it on. That will be going very cheap, because these are mass-produced things. But anyway, this way it will contribute to maybe getting something else for the layout or for my modelling hobby in general, because I'm not only limited to model trains. Even if the model trains are the main, I also got kits and things, and there are quite a few things. Now that we go towards autumn and winter, I'll also be going back to Model Kit Tuesday. I've got some interesting kits that I'm going to make, and we'll be maybe doing the kit building in a more condensed manner. So by editing, now that I've got a good video editing CapCut, that's very good, and maybe not to make a million episodes, because that becomes a little bit boring. And we'll see anyway what to do, how to organize things. So that's the Lima engine shed that's going to, I'll see if I can sell it. Probably will. I'll sell it cheap, and that'll just contribute some funds for something else, because you can always buy something else. Sometimes I actually use the money of things I sell from Vinted for things that are not related to the layout. Or for example, I bought these drawers here, these two sets of drawers from Action with some Vinted money, so I just transferred it onto my card. And other times maybe I just have the cash and I put it in the card and maybe buy petrol with it or something else. But very often, or more often than not, it goes into some other model, something else I want to get, or even things that I buy. I've bought fish plates on Vinted. I've bought those Mehano rail clamps on Vinted. So it's a very, very good platform, very good. Also because it links more countries. So that's the Lima engine shed for you. Cheerio, and see you next time. Let me know what you think about this shed. If I've even thought maybe just to keep it, maybe build a wee wooden board here with a wee backdrop, and then in some edited stories I could have the local coming out. Then next clip it's on the main line. The thing is that I'd be keeping this thing in its box, lying around, getting dusty under the bed or whatever, and there's always a lack of space issue around here, and for nothing, when I can get something, maybe a 2-bay engine shed, a Jouef or something, and use it, and really use it to its best advantage on the layout. So that's that. So let me know what you think. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and let me also know what you think about my various projects and videos on the model kits, etc, etc, etc. Anyway, ciao ciao, e ci vediamo la prossima volta. Alla prossima. I finished in Italian this time.